In the first four graphs of this chapter, we've seen an approach to thinking about the trade-off between efficiency and equity that societies might face, using an approach that draws on philosophy. In its purest form, it thinks about utility possibility frontiers, even though, as neoclassical economists, we recognize that utilities across individuals are difficult or impossible to measure. As the approach moves to the more practical, we've mentioned that instead of putting utilities on the axes, we sometimes put income or wealth on the axes and think about income or wealth distributions. And one way that income or wealth distributions are often summarized in a much more practical way is through the use of Lorenz curves. We'll illustrate this here. On the horizontal axis of this graph, we illustrate population share, with the population lined up from poorest to richest. The individual that's poorest therefore appears at 0, and the individual that's richest appears at 1. On the vertical axis, we illustrate the income share that accrues to the population share that's plotted on the horizontal axis. Suppose, for instance, that the bottom 80% of the population earns 50% of all income. Then point A would illustrate this by showing that the 0.8 population share gets 0.5 of all the income. If the lowest 40% of the population gets 5% of all income, then point B illustrates that. Repeating this for all population shares, we get what's called the Lorenz curve, with the shaded area between the 45-degree line that would indicate full equality and the Lorenz curve for a particular society becoming one possible measure for the degree of income inequality in that society.